Hello and welcome back to part 2 of my mini video series on how to delegate effectively. What we're going to cover in this video is what you could and what you should not delegate to others, prioritizing what you delegate and deciding who you're going to delegate to. So let's look at the first of those, which is actually what not to delegate. And I think there are 3 categories of things not to delegate. The first of those is what I would put under the banner of personnel issues. So anything that is confidential or giving feedback or praise and recognition to your team, because your team expect that to come from you, not from somebody that you delegate it to. The second is not to delegate things which I would classify as being crisis management. When things go wrong, that's really unfair on the individual that you're going to delegate to. And then the third one is not delegating things where you're not going to get a payback in terms of your investment in time. So if it's going to take you 2 hours to show somebody how to do a task that would normally only take you 30 minutes and it's a one-off and it's never going to happen again, that's not necessarily a very effective use of your time. Now, that doesn't mean to say that there might not be components of that task or that project which are repeatable. So you might want to just break that down into its component parts if you feel that there are elements of it that could be delegated. So that's what's not to delegate. So thinking about what you do delegate, I think the best place to start is to do a list or brainstorm and just get everything down on paper, everything that you do. Then cross off all of those things that we've just covered, the things which should only really be done by you, and then see what you have got left. And there will be some things that you have written down there, which actually is picking the task, the single task that would give you the best payback if you were to invest time in that and showing somebody else how to do it. So that is a good way of actually sort of sifting through what to delegate and maybe what not to delegate. But it's also another factor is to think about what is going to be good development activities as well for some of the people within your team. So you might need to invest a little bit more time in it, but ultimately that's going to reward you in terms of that person's development and allowing them that opportunity to stretch. And one thing to consider is that what we don't want to do is to overburden people. So to delegate some overwhelming task or project in its entirety, because that will end up with them being a bit like a rabbit in the headlights and could scare them off. But equally, we don't want to break things down into too sort of itty-bitty, because if people then only got one step and they don't see where it relates to everything else, that can be very frustrating for them and not really very fulfilling. So do think about what is a task that could be measured in its entirety that you can then delegate to somebody else. So let's now think about who do we delegate to? So one of the factors is it relevant to either their existing role, so what they're doing now, or is it relevant to maybe a future role that they are aspiring to? The second factor is, which links in with the aspiring role, is what's going to be good for their development. Now, they may not be actually thinking about another role, but what we do want to do is to keep people engaged and keep them stretched in their existing role. So that may be a reason for you to delegate specific tasks to them. Think also about who might be able to give a fresh perspective to that task, maybe through their previous experience or their skills, but also think about their particular strengths, any sort of what I would refer to as their innate talent, that they have a knack for certain things, so they may be able to bring a fresh perspective to a task that you do currently. And then finally, think about the time and availability. It's very unfair to delegate something that is additional to somebody's role without therefore taking something away. So if you're going to now give somebody a task to do, which is going to take them 20 minutes out of their day and they're already to capacity, you need to take something away to make space for that so that they're able to do that task well. And in terms of their availability, there may be certain tasks that can only be done at certain times of the day. And if they're not available during that time of day, then again, that's not really going to work. So we've looked here at 3 factors: what to delegate, what not to delegate, how do you prioritize the things that you're going to delegate, and deciding who you are going to delegate those tasks to. And in the next video, what we'll go on to talk about is how can you be confident that task is going to be done to standard. So the steps to consider when you actually come to delegate. So that's all for now. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.